are the supporters of rebel headquarters. Tune in 6 to 9 for our marching orders. Get them online if you don't have time. The real revolution won't be televised. Real revolutions right
That's
in front
new,
of
isn't
your
it?
eyes. Tell it like
All
it
right.
is
Do we
and
know
don't
who did that?
apologize. Fox News Live.
Just in JR's music folder. I don't know.
All right,
Just
JR's
found it.
music folder.
Thanks,
with
JR.
fascinating Young Turks raps. Okay. Fantastic. All right, listen. You ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Down goes Gingrich. Down goes Santorum. Just calm down, all right? Everybody calm down. They have been removed from Fox News Channel. They have been terminated. They have been fired. Now, why? They are running for president. Santorum has started an exploratory committee, which means he's running for president. He will, in reality, get about negative 17%. He has less than 0% chance of winning, but he thinks he's going to run and win. So Fox News doesn't care about Santorum. He's not at all interesting. They probably regretted giving him the contract. They hardly ever use him. And then Newt Gingrich also has a very small chance of winning, but has talked extensively about how he might run to the point of annoying everyone else. Just, dude, run or don't run. Otherwise, hush up. Anyway, that's basically what Fox News has told them, too. They don't want them on their air and on their payroll if they are running for president, because that presents legal problems. Now, you might notice that Sarah Palin and Mike Huckabee are still on Fox News. Well, they have a much better chance of winning, so Fox doesn't want to piss them off. Okay, now, when I say winning, I mean the primaries. Of course, Sarah Palin has no chance of winning the general election, and she probably won't run because now her poll numbers, even within the Republican primaries, are embarrassing. Even in our home state, 61% unpopular ratings now. Disastrous, okay? So, but, you know, Fox News loves her, etc., and she likes to pretend she's going to run to get more attention and then be coy about it. Oh, me? Oh, you betcha? No, you don't betcha. But Huckabee, that's the real guy. I think the race is going to be between Mitt Romney and Mike Huckabee in the primaries. You know, he's being coy and not saying anything about running because he wants to keep getting free airtime on Fox News Channel and getting paid for it. But honestly, I think he's crazy if he doesn't enter. He's in the top 2 in almost every poll. So you think Fox News doesn't know that? And I love that they have a double standard for the ones who might win and for the losers who have no chance of winning. They're like, losers, scat, right? Huckabee, oh yes, Governor Huckabee, at your service. How much would you like us to pay you? That guy might be president one day. We got to keep getting good with him. And there's the journalistic integrity of Fox News for you. So, but at least those two guys are off the air for now. One more piece of campaign news before I tell you what else we got. Michelle Bachmann is asking for holy guidance, not just on whether she's going to run, but on her staff. Apparently, God needs to help her out on that. Remember, of course, in 2009, she had asked God about whether she should run, and shockingly, it turns out God gave her the answer she wanted. Could you imagine if God talks to her and he's like, Michelle, totally bad idea. Remember that old SNL skit, Bad Idea Jeans? That's your campaign. No, of course, whenever anybody talks to God, they always hear what they want to hear. Funny how that works. But at the time, she had said, I felt that that's what the Lord was calling me to do. I would do it, but I will not seek a higher office if God is not calling me to do it. That's really my standard. Okay, well, very fair standard. Now she's decided the Lord is calling her. See? Like, I love the idea of God being like, I need Michelle Bachmann to run the United States of America. Michelle, I'm calling you. Pick up the phone. Can you hear me now? Run for president. Look, couldn't God just make her president? Anyway, apparently she needs help with the staff as well. She says, quote, I'm asking your listeners, obviously when she's on a program, to now please pray for me and my husband and my team. Ask that the Lord will give us a special anointing on how to put our team together, who those people will be, that he would bring those people to us. Also, you know I'm not religious, so I find a lot of this funny, but how does that work? God's like, hey, Bob, go over to Michelle's team. He's like, oh, He goes over to Michelle Bachmann's team. I don't know how it works. And the word anointing always seems funny to me. Like it always, like this with the oils, right? I mean, do they rub themselves with oil and then they say, all right, Lord, show me the staff. Where's the staff? I have anointed myself with oils. Okay, but look, I'm the bad guy. Of course, I don't believe in it. So look, for some religious people, maybe that's a language that might make sense to them. She's obviously trying to appeal to religious folks. And I think that, of course, they think that it's a way of, justifying their decisions and wrapping it in some holy cloak, etc., so that people can say, oh, well, it must have been the Lord's will. It's pretty convenient, and I think it's pretty shallow, but yeah, look, it's a whole different world. So I'm partly being an ass about it, okay, to be honest with you, but I just don't get that world. I don't know, am I being too tough or no? No? Okay, no. I'm getting a no from Lucas and Jesus. Okay. Because look, some people are into it, and they're into the anointing and waiting for, the Lord to speak to them so they can go left or right.
Well, I think if God is telling Michelle Bachmann to run, he probably wants Barack Obama to win. So
that's a great point by Lucas. He's like, who do we want? We want Obama, right? He's doing a pretty good job. Yeah, Geithner's a little fishy, but yeah, we're all settled. Moses, you're in? Okay, cool. Michelle, I need you to run for Republican candidacy. That's pretty good, right? Then Obama will definitely win. Right? I like that conversation. Lucas, nice call. All right. So, now, are you ready? Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Down goes Ryan's Medicare plan. Down goes Ryan's Medicare plan. Is anyone else in the country as excited as I am about this? So, Paul Ryan put together that Medicare plan that they recently announced, and all the Republicans voted for, except for 4 of them in the House. So over 200 Republicans sign on for the plan, and what it does is it ends Medicare as we know it. It turns it into a voucher system, and the voucher does not increase with health care costs. So eventually you run out of money, and they've already done analysis on it. You would pay the lion's share of your health care costs, so Medicare is gone, right? If it passes. Now, it's already passed the House because the Republicans control the House. But guess what happened? They went to their town hall events, and everybody was like, boo, seek the Lord, go away. And they love their Medicare. How many polls have I shown you? Quinnipiac has a new poll out today, 70%. Do not cut Medicare, even if it is to balance the budget. Don't cut it, under any circumstances. There's never been a poll under 70% on don't cut Medicare. So they saw all those polls, and by the way, I'll tell you, there was a meeting that I attended in Washington last week where Republican congressional staffers said, yeah, Medicare, well, we'd like to run on other issues. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then this week, now all of a sudden, we've got a massive backpedal. They are backpedaling the hell out of there, man. So first of all, David Camp runs the Ways and Means Committee. He's, of course, a Republican from Michigan. And they say, well, are you going to bring it up for a vote? Because that would be the next logical step. You bring it up, vote in your committee, and we move forward. He said, not so much. He said, quote, I'm not interested in laying down more markers. Why do we need to vote on that? No, we already got our ass handed to us on that. We got no interest on that vote. So then they go to Eric Cantor and they say, it looks like your guy's backing out, and it looks like you're not going to go forward with this Medicare thing. He's like, oh, outrageous. I demand a retraction. We will be proceeding forward. We'll see how exactly we do that, but the Senate really won't pass it anyway. So then they go to John Boehner, and John Boehner's like, I'd love to do it. But the president's got us all tied up here, man. And the Democrats, they just won't let us do it. So that's why we're, what can we do? And he said, look, quote, those are the political realities we face. What could poor John Boehner do? He had to run for the hills. Okay, if you're not convinced, already the other Republicans are mad. So Joe Walsh, freshman Republican, put his ass on the line, voted for the bill, right? Now he turns around, and he's been making the case for the bill for the last 2 months and getting his ass kicked, as all these Republicans have in their town halls. Now he comes back to Washington, and they say, yeah, that turned out to be a bad idea, Joe. We're not going to go do that. So he gets mad, and he says, quote, I would be very disappointed if we didn't follow through We've spent, gosh, a month or two now trying to educate the American people to a pretty good reception. That part is totally not true. I appreciate the chairman's notion, but I would continue to respectfully challenge him to get this thing through committee. So what does that mean? That means they ain't doing it, and he's mad that they're not doing it. He's like, no. Okay, more. Bobby Schilling, he's a congressman from Illinois. He says, we are collapsing to lies and deceit told by the other side. Again, the second part of that is not true, but they are collapsing. He calls it a collapse. A Republican aide says, it is a big problem. Things are unraveling. That's it. They're on. Whoa, stay. Whoa, run. They are gonzo, man. They're running for the hills. End of this. No more Medicare plan where they try to slash it. They tried it for about a month, and they got mauled. So the American people, I want to congratulate you on a job well done. You even got the Republicans scared, and you got them running and retreating. Now, that doesn't happen that often. It was great work, man. So that's positive. Now, of course, Republicans being who they are, they'll say, well, let's go to negotiations and see how it goes. And Democrats being who they are will then later be tricked into, well, I don't know, we gave more tax cuts to the rich and we did all this and we did all that because we had to save Medicare. When you know today, mark the day, okay, and it's an easy day to mark, it's Cinco de Mayo. This thing's already dead. They don't want any piece of it. If the Democrats give up anything for this, they're nuts, politically speaking. Now, of course, you know how the reality is. They want to give those things up. They pretend to give them up, right? But we've been through that. But if they actually were genuine actors, and what they would do is they'd say, oh, no, you know, the Republicans, they have that plan, and golly gee willikers, you know, what can we do? We're going to run against that plan, and we're going to try to fight it all the way. And no, you can keep it in your plan, and no problem, just you keep it in your plan. But we're going to have to fight it. And look, now to be fair to the Democrats, it seems like they're already kind of going in that direction. Now, first of all, they kicked the crap out of them on this one, so give them credit on that. And then second of all, now that they've announced all this stuff, the Democrats are still like, yeah, we're still going to run ads because you voted for it anyway. That sounds Republican, doesn't it? I like it in terms of toughness of politics. Now, also the Republican candidates running for the hill. Think Progress caught up with Tim Pawlenty. They asked him about this. See if they can get him to agree to sign on to Ryan's plan. Let's watch.
And it'll have many of the same elements to it, and I certainly appreciate Congressman Ryan's courage and the leadership that he's exhibited in contrast to President Obama, who until recently was ducking the issue and wouldn't lead. But as to the details of Congressman Ryan's plan, I will, in the coming months, have my own plan, which will have many similarities. But
you know, Congress passes the bills, obviously, that come to your desk, if his bill were to come to your desk.
Yeah, we'll have our own plan, and you'll be able to compare them when we.
But if it does come to the desk,
all right. Well, you'll be able to compare them when you see our plan, and you can make your judgment.
Ryan plan? What? He ain't gonna answer that. He runs from every question. God, what a loser that guy is. All right. Now, second bill.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Down goes the health care repeal. Down goes the health care repeal. Again, no person in the country more excited than I am about this news. I don't know if anybody else is even covering it. All right, so you know how they said in these 2010 elections, we're going to repeal that health care bill right away, okay? Or as my dad would say, right away. Or as Bloody Loco would say, oh boy, am I going to be able to find it in time?
ASAP.
Okay, that's what they were going to do with that health care bill. They're going to repeal it ASAP, as Bloody Loco says. All right, so now look, to be fair to them, the House Republicans immediately voted to quash it. Now, that didn't really sit well with folks either. It's not been going that well. And it was all hype anyway. Like, what, they don't understand that the president would veto it and that the Senate, which is still controlled by Democrats, would be against it? They knew that from day one. It was just a lot of bullshit politics, right? So they're like, oh, we're going to get it. And now they voted on it. Now they asked Dave Camp again in the Ways and Means Committee. That's the most important committee in the House, basically, when it comes to appropriating money. And they're like, okay, so what are you doing with healthcare repeal next? He's like, nothing. It's dead. They're like, what do you mean? This what you ran on the campaign on this? He's like, I know, yeah. It turns out the Senate's Democrats and the president's a Democrat. Who knew? Yeah, we're going to drop it like a rock. It's gone. Okay. He's like, okay. Look. Since you're bothering me, we're going to try to repeal the individual mandate. We'll work on that. We'll see if we can win on that. But it's not going well. I mean, did I say that out loud? I mean, yeah, some of them are bitches. We're going to get them. But no, it's effectively over. The whole idea of repealing the whole healthcare the whole healthcare bill, gone. Okay, not happening. He says, and yeah, maybe the conservatives in the courts will rule our way. Hope for the best. Who believed these guys? I mean, look, I did a whole segment on this on MSNBC, but let me just give you a quick thing. Look, these guys, they ran on all this nonsense, right? Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're jobs. What's their priorities? They get an abortion, right? So they also did that yesterday. They, in the notes, in the House notes, they couldn't get it into the legislation. They tried, Chris Smith tried to redefine rape so that it had to be forcible rape. So even if you were drugged or it was statutory rape, they were saying that you couldn't get your own insurance to cover that, which is so outrageous. They failed on that, but apparently they wrote it into the record so that if the courts go to interpret it, and they happen to be conservative courts, and it says, oh yeah, by the way, statutory rape doesn't really count, we redefined rape. Okay? So they're unreal. And they've, of course, done attacks on increasing women's coverage. So because now companies cannot offer it, according to their bills, in their plans, so then the women have to pay out of pocket on it. And if they pay out of pocket, they cannot get it as a tax deduction. Even Grover Norquist, like the most conservative guy in America, says, well, that is kind of a tax increase. So they're willing to do tax increases as long as it's on women and depriving them of their rights, etc. And obviously, D.C. got thrown under a bus in the last budget deal that they did, and they're defunding any abortions in D.C. So instead of jobs, what did we get? We got an abortion this and nonsense that and repeal Medicare. None of the things that they campaigned on. That's the Republicans for you. All right. I got to take a quick break here. When we come back, new reports on oil and on profits of companies, et cetera, et cetera. And I want to give you also one fun clip on Fox interpretation of endangered species. Come on, that's fun. Come right back. All right, back on the Young Turks. We told you it was going to be quick. Thanking Lieutenant Derek Rice, very similar to my excellent fantasy basketball player Derek Rose, who, if he gets to the finals, I win. Okay, anyway, Derek Rice, Lieutenant Rice, great to have you here. And furthermore, let's go with David Rizzo. Why not? That's fun.
Rizzo.
Rizzo's in the hizzo.
I love that last name, actually. I have a friend named Norma Rizzo.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I love that last name.
Oh, wow, there's some great names here. All right, I'm going to do one more. Okay, he's member number 3113. Now, of course, I've lost it. Oh, look at this one. Viankinta Youngblood. Is Youngblood really your last name? That's badass. That sounds a little Native American. Viankinta Youngblood. December 2nd of 2010, member number 3044. Okay, awesome. We move forward.
By the way, I watched a little basketball last night. I really like that Barea guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's really good.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm not kidding. He's actually really good. I was watching Houston play the Lakers. Yeah. And then the short guy, Barea, he's awesome. He's tricky. That's what I liked about him.
No, you know what happened?
What?
Lakers aren't playing Houston.
No, it was Dallas, right?
Yes.
Whatever. Texas.
I regret it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was just my mistake and my bad. I'm sorry.
Apparently I wasn't paying close enough attention.
She's like, I like the cute Latin guy.
No.
And you know when they were playing San Antonio. Yeah.
No, I'll tell you why I like that guy. That guy helped Dallas win last night, okay?
Yes.
He actually played a very critical role in the game last night. And he's extremely short for NBA standards. He's 5'9", I believe.
Oh,
That's
really?
Incredible.
All right, good for you.
See?
See?
Please.
Okay.
Don't insult my sports knowledge. It's very extensive.
Very extensive. All right, forward.
All right. iPhone has a new app known as Footprints. And this app is a little troublesome because of the fact that it allows you to track people in real time.
Well, you knew this was going to happen, and it's disastrous. First thing that people are going to do is they're going to track their kids. So what a pain in the ass. And your phone, it can even run when it's off. You're going to have to ditch it at your friend's house when you go to somewhere you shouldn't be. But, because all the nosy parents are going to start putting this thing in there.
The nosy parents are going to do it, but believe it or not, the nosy parents are the least of my worries because I'm not a kid anymore and I don't need to worry about it. But what I don't like is, first of all, they claim that the person that you want to track needs to give you permission, but it's so simple. If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, all you have to do is pick up their phone, allow the permission, give the permission, and then that's it. You start tracking them without them even knowing about it.
Give me a break.
No, I don't like it. I hate this kind of stuff.
Okay, terrible idea, and they're going to do it without their permission, no question about it. And then people are going to be tracking, they're coming to your house. Okay, they're coming to the hotel room you're sleeping with your mistress in. Okay, and the next thing you know, sometimes, what companies will do this, right? They'll say, oh, I'm going to need to track your phone. Because I need to know if you're, really on the job and you went to go there, instead you went to the porn shop, or you went to the coffee shop, or you went to the whatever shop. So, no, this footprint thing, we should bury it. Okay, no more stories. It doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's done.
Except I don't think that's going to work. That disaster is headed your way.
Yeah. Look, I get people's fascination with this type of app. I get that people want to be nosy and they want to track down their loved ones and they want to make sure that they're not being lied to. You're just going to get yourself into so much more trouble. Okay, it's not worth it. I never understood people who like to check their significant other's phones, never understood people who like to go through computers and do a little spy work. It's so pathetic. Like, just let people live their lives.
Yes, I agree.
All right.
Yes.
Scientists from Ontario, Canada have created a new phone that's paper thin. Okay, and this phone works just like a computer, just like your smartphone. It's known as the paper phone, and it's described as a flexible iPhone. So we have a picture of it, and it's incredible. It's very flexible, very thin material, very durable. And the people who invented this say that it will definitely replace the iPhone.
Yeah, of course. Anybody who invents something new says it's going to replace the iPhone. There's never been any, like you can invent a sex robot like the Japanese do and say it's going to replace the iPhone. I know, just nothing's replacing it. Okay, second of all, I'm very dubious about this.
Why are you dubious?
Come on, paper computers, that doesn't make sense.
Grandpa Cenk.
Okay.
Grandpa Cenk.
You can't have a computer on a paper. That doesn't make sense. Look, I like that you could put it in your pocket and that's easy, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It seems like, really? That's going to work and you're going to do the things you do on the iPhone?
Even though they say it's durable, and I'm sure the material it's made out of is durable, it looks flimsy.
Yeah.
And also the fact that it's basically the size of a credit card makes me a little nervous because I feel like I'm definitely going to lose it. Mm-hmm. It's not bulky enough. I'm going to put it in my pocket. It's somehow going to slide out. I don't know.
I'm making a prediction. It's not going to work. Okay, there it is. If JR was here, he'd write it down. Except if it doesn't work, no one will ever remember this story. So I will not get credit for it.
Aww.
And I won't remember.
But if it does work, I'll make sure to bring it back up.
You know what? 2 years from now, we will be doing this. No matter what happens, I'm coming back and be like, you remember those stupid paper computers? Where are they now? Didn't work, did it?
By the way, they're expecting to release it, for a commercial sale in 5 years.
Oh.
So.
Okay, all right, let's move on with our lives. Okay.
2/3 of couples report that the male says "I love you" first.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
You guys are kind of questionable. Totally makes sense for a great number of reasons. First, men are a lot softer than they appear to be. Okay.
No, they're not softer. They just want to get in your pants.
That's the overwhelming reason. Okay. Yes. So of course, women say it after sex, men say it before sex. Mm-hmm. Because why? Most obviously, oh, I love you, baby. Oh, yeah, baby, I love you. Everything's going to be great.
Have you ever done that? Ew, ew. That would just scare me.
Here's what's not going to get you laid. That.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Perfect
not
example.
going to work. Anyway, no, I'm a man of principle. I held out. I never said I love you before sex because I didn't really love them. If I got to the point in a relationship where I had some emotions, okay, then I got no problems being soft hands. I'll say it, okay. But like I thought it was a cheesy thing to do, and I don't even think that it necessarily even works. You know what
Women
I'm saying?
can see through it
I think
most part.
For the most part. And second of all, do they really like the guy who's like, I love
No.
you? You see what I'm saying? So I never once did it for sex.
So, in your current relationship, who said I love you first?
Look, I'm Mr. Soft Hands. Look, come on, you know how.
Wait, what's that thing you do?
Bloop, 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 bloop. Okay, so that's why overall I'm not at all surprised that it's 2/3 men.
That's surprising. I actually said I love you first,
Weak.
but I was drunk.
But I was drunk. By the way, there's nothing wrong with saying I love you first. It's fine. Look, in fact, I view it as, like, if I mean it, which I do, right, I view it as a sign of strength. Like I'm not worried, like, oh my God, what if she doesn't love me? Or what if he, what if he, I don't give a damn.
Right.
I do what I do and you react.
Have you ever said I love you and the reaction was?
Me? Of course not. Are you kidding me? Every time I say I love you, I say it this way. And then, of course, they melt and they say, oh my God, I love you too. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't even think about it. I don't think it's that big a deal.
Luke Meister, you or your girlfriend?
Who's first?
Yeah.
Oof, gosh. I think it was her.
It was her?
Yeah.
Oh, come
Ah,
on. Lily Home?
Yeah.
I know,
Lily
you
Home?
wouldn't believe it from the last name, but
Okay. Jesus, it happened 17 years ago, so there's no way you recollect.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking. Yeah, I don't remember.
No, but I remember. I remember.
Oh!
No. I don't physically remember, like he never told me, but I know. It was Vanya. Okay. Because this guy, he's too shy to say it. He would have found it awkward. You know what I'm saying?
Probably. I mean, you probably know it better.
Yeah.
It seems pretty likely to.
Yeah. You know who's secretly soft? Mr. Tough Guy, you come into my house, I'll fuck you up, J.R. Jackson.
Oh, total softy.
If you come into his house and you're a guy, you're in trouble. If you come into his house and you're a girl, he's in trouble. Okay. Anyway, yes. Next.
All right. So the Jersey Shore is headed to Italy to do their next season. They're filming at a university in Italy. It's the Istituto Lorenzo de Medici.
I
Or
like
Medici.
that. I thought you nailed it. Istituto Lorenzo da Medici. She probably got it a little right.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. But the officials at the school are warning their students about the tapings, okay? They want to make sure that the students don't accidentally find themselves in the MTV show. All right?
Yeah, they're mental about it.
They really are. So I want to read you the letter that they sent out to their students. They said, "Dear students, our housing department has informed us that starting May 9th, there will be shootings." By the way, there will be shootings inside the second floor. At that point, I would be like, I'm
I'd
gonna
run for the hills.
There will be shootings in the second floor apartment of your building. We advise you, do not sign any paper, let anyone in, and keep us informed.
Well, what is Snooki going to come and do? Like, you know...
Dry hump them?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, actually. Watch out, there's a Snooki out there, right? And the reason they say don't sign any papers is because then you are giving consent to show your face on the show. My guess is that the kids aren't going to listen to it anyway. In the beginning, they're going to be dismissed, like, oh, Jersey Shore, please. And then they turned a little French there. No, right? But then, all of a sudden, they're like, oh, there's a camera. We could be on MTV. Hey, what's up, Snooki? Okay, totally. You watch, okay? And by the way, you read their statement wrong. They're Italian. So they said, dear students, our housing department has informed us that starting May 9th, there will be shootings inside the second floor apartment of your building. Perhaps the mafia or the mob. We advise you not to sign any paper, let anyone in, and keep us informed. What do you think?
Disaster.
So next thing you know, TYT, banned in Italy.
I wouldn't be surprised, seriously.
Okay. They're like, do not let the Young Turks into your house. Okay, there will be shootings on the second floor. Don't do it. Or they would say, do not let the Young Turks into your house.
You know what, though? You got to give Uyghur props for being consistent. He doesn't just make fun of Indians or Asians. He makes fun of everyone.
Everyone across the board.
Bulgarians.
I got, I'm getting crap for my Irish accent on one of the ads.
Oh, you are?
Oh, yeah. I've turned some Irish folks against me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Drama.
I was like, you know how I did the top of the morning to you, right? And they're like, nobody says top of the morning to you in Ireland. How the fuck would I know? I've never been in Ireland. Okay. So I'm just making shit up based on like House of Pain songs.
All right, one more story,
Okay.
because I love this story. So the house that was featured in Home Alone and Home Alone 2 is now for sale.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull a dick move, okay? Because we're out of time. Members, you get to find out how much the house is selling for.
And how many bedrooms the house has. It's surprising.
I pulled a dick move. Okay, all right, listen. Quick post game for you guys on the members only. Ben and Anna are doing the show tomorrow. It's going to frickin' rock. I'm doing MSNBC 6 o'clock tomorrow. Everybody watch out and go check out TYT shows on YouTube. Go.